Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Beacon Live. Thank you for joining us tonight once again. And we have two very special guests that we can't wait to bring on and share their stories and music with you. I'm going to start off tonight with a song, and this is actually a secular song that, I actually just recorded this last night as part of my new album. And, today, I was just doing this song with a student again and just got reminded that, this tune is called You've Got a Friend. And, I know there are still many people suffering. And, the past week I've read about, people, families dealing with suicide. And there's just so much struggles. And even in Singapore with the new, phase 2 and this semi-lockdown again, I know people are feeling, all sorts of emotions now, but I just wanted to share this song, and it just reminds me also that, God is our friend, and that we can go to Him with anything, with all our worries and concerns. So I just wanted to start off tonight with this song called "You've Got a Friend."
Okay.
Yep, that was first instrumental piece starting tonight. And we welcome Miss Lu on tonight's session.
Hi guys! A very big hello to everybody watching right now. We are actually live streaming on quite a few pages. We're on the Hiding Place Facebook page, on the Loud and Clear Beacon Connection Facebook page. And if you're watching this on YouTube as well, hello. I hope that you will take this time to share this video with your family and friends. Just a simple share button. Hopefully we'll be able to help this video reach more people. And we have such incredible stories and music hopefully coming up ahead, and we hope that more people will be blessed by it tonight. So thank you again for tuning in to this current episode of Beacon Live. And you know, the whole reason why we wanted to start Beacon Live was actually to put music and stories together and hopefully lift people's spirits in this time. And throughout this entire time where we've been doing Beacon Live, I don't think things have gotten any better. In actual fact, I feel like they might have gotten worse. But every week or every 2 weeks now, we come here and we really want to be able to tell you and to show you that there is hope beyond the things which are happening currently. So wherever and whenever you're watching this video, since it's going to live on after the live stream, I pray that you'll be able to, be able to discover that hope that we all have here. Yeah.
I think now is a good time for us to jump into the comments and say hi to friends who are here. We have Boon Chai saying hi, Michelle and all. Hi, hey. Boon Chai. Thank you so much for being here. First comment in.
Very cool, Boon Chai. Thank you.
And we have Mr. Heng as well.
Yes,
nice to see you, Mr. Heng. Daryl says, nice song. Thank you so much. We have Chris here. Chris Chua says, mental well-being is a real issue. Yes, I totally agree. Yeah. And we have Vinny. Hey, Vinny from the US.
Hey, Vinny.
Thank you so much for being here. It's really early in the US now, 8 a.m. So thanks for being here. We have David Tay. Thank you so much.
We have on YouTube, Crimson, I don't know how to pronounce the Dynamo, saying beautiful, refreshes my soul.
Yeah. And
wonderful.
Imelda says, Jesus is a friend through all the seasons of our lives. Oops. Okay. I think that too many of us trying to press the comments. So thank you, Imelda. And Imelda is here helping us as our production manager, lyrics IC. So thank you so much, Imelda.
And if you find that name very familiar, Imelda was actually on Beacon Live the previous season as well. So if you want to, after this episode, you can go back and rewatch the episode where you get to watch both Michelle and Imelda together.
Yes. Mr. Heng says, hope everything is going well on this phase 2. Yes, as good as it can be, we're so fortunate that we're still allowed to live stream and not have to cancel or postpone this session today.
That's true.
And we have Joash says, Joash from Australia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Hi, Joash.
And we have Audrey Tang.
Yeah, Audrey.
Nice to see you, Audrey. She was our special guest on our last episode 2 weeks ago. Nice to see you here. And Jerry Chua. Nice to see you, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
As well as Hilda. Nice to see you, Hilda. Let's see.
Yeah, we just want to thank everybody for commenting. And if you're watching but you're shy to say hello, make sure to at least give a like on the video. And if you haven't already subscribed to the Beacon Connection YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that, because we are in the midst of planning for more content. Other than Beacon Live, we do want to put out more Christian original songs, Christian covers and stories and things like that. So yeah, give it a subscribe, and I hope that you'll be able to be blessed by the content that will come from there. Thank you so much. And of course, a big thank you to Chris Straw for making Beacon Live happen. Yes. Our very, very cherished sponsor from Eden Resources. Yeah.
And my dad is here as well.
Hello.
He says, beautiful setting. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And Thomas E is here.
Hey,
hi,
Thomas. Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we'll
very
jump
active
back.
comment section today.
Yes.
We're very happy with that. Yeah, so good. So nice to have all of you with us at the same time. And even though we can't have everyone here physically, which I would really, really love to someday, I'm still thankful that we get to still be in the same space, I guess, a virtual space. So thank you, everybody. Yeah.
I think now would be a good time
Yes.
to introduce
Our
our
first guest for
guest.
tonight.
Yep.
So our first guest is actually from a charity called The Hiding Place, and The Hiding Place was actually established in 1973, and it is a Christian home for the rehabilitation of anyone who is in need of help. To let you know more about what they do, I would like to point your attention to the video that's going to come up ahead.
Psalm 32, the Lord is my hiding place. Our purpose is actually to help brothers in trouble, in drugs especially, to get off through the power of Jesus. The emphasis in the home is very much on the Christian teaching. 4 aspects: spiritual, vocational, educational, and recreational.
When I finish my program, finally I respond to God's call and to serve Him at the hiding place. It's more than just only the piper task thing. It's about molding the character. It's a time also where you can see the character of the boys, see how is their personality and their attitude in work, where you can see their weakness, and it's a time also where you're able to talk to them, to correct them. Ask God to open their heart to really come to a point of brokenness. Just like the prodigal son, God will touch their heart, and they'll be able to see the help they are given and to be able to see the new life that is offered to them.
I'm very happy in that sense, like they cooperate, that they know that, they put 2 heads together are better than one, they say, and then they do this. Another thing is that I've seen people putting in effort more, let's move the dustpan outside, let's move the chair away, and then we get a job better done. So when I see these things, I'm really thankful seeing that progress taking place in their lives, and that can be applied outside. That is the beginning of a changed life. All this when you do, you see the light of God inside you. The little things are very big actually, and that is a wonderful thing to see.
I've been serving in this place for I think more than 25 years. I see the need of the young people, and as God's calling to reach out to them to help whatever we can. My wish is for them to be able to get back to school in the first place, so that to move on one more step. I won't consider it as a sacrifice, but rather to offer myself to do, to put back, to give back what God has given me.
I'm very grateful. I would just like to say thanks to all the teachers and all the brothers in hiding place, because since coming here, they've been very encouraging. And before I came here, actually, I was quite lost a lot of motivation. I didn't see myself studying. So the fact that I'm studying now, when I think back, it's like, wow, it's quite surprising.
My plan is to positively contribute back to society throughout this recovery process. Everyone in the hiding place, as well as my family back home, who has been very supportive during my stay here. I love you all.
When we see the brothers doing very well, walking with the Lord, I always call this the crown and joy of our life work. I've been serving in this hiding place for past 46 years. I see that for drug addiction, it's very difficult to kick the habit. But yet after all these years, when they come to know Jesus, they really realize that, wow, it is so good. It is the power of God that can set me free from drugs now. The power of Jesus began to work in their life and they become transformed.
Okay, and thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed that video and found it informative. And now here we have Caleb from the hiding place. Thank you so much, Caleb, for joining
everyone.
us tonight. And yeah, I'm just gonna jump into it, and hopefully we all learn more about what the hiding place does and how we can contribute and support as well. So Caleb, maybe you can share with us what does the hiding place do?
Okay, hiding place is a place that help all those ex-offenders, drug addicts, even alcoholic, gamblers, to give them a chance, to give them a place to stay, to let them to find back the meaning of life. That's what we focus on, what we're doing.
That's amazing. And maybe you can share with us how long has the hiding place been around?
Hiding place is started by Mother Christina, we call her Fat Mama, in 1973, when she being called by the Lord, went to St. John Island to experience the drug addicts. Because last time St. John Island is the place to, can say they lock up all those drug addicts to give them a chance to quit. So when 1973, he went there, he experienced and called by the Lord. So he started the first halfway house in Singapore named House of Grace. So after that, in 1978, when he married with Pastor Philip, so they changed House of Grace to the hiding place. So consider hiding place in 48 years in Singapore.
Wow. Yeah, and you were mentioning earlier the hiding place is the first halfway house in Singapore, right?
Yes. I think, yeah, I'm right. Hiding place is the first halfway house that started. Both of them is the founder of late Pastor Philip and Mother Trina.
Wow, that's amazing. And maybe you could, Caleb, if you want to share your personal story and how you got associated with the hiding place.
Okay, I'm 47 this year. I think I've been serving in hiding place 11 years.
Wow.
When I just came to hiding place in 2010, when I just came out from prison, I can frankly tell you all that when I just came to hiding place with a wrong motive, because that time just came out from prison, then I got no family, no support, no place to stay. So prison fellowship recommend me to stay in hiding place. He said, actually, job and work is not important for me. For me is, I need God. So he said, that's the best place you can go to, and you can really find God down there. But my heart was thinking that, no, I just need a place to stay. I can work, I'm a chef, I can survive. So just give me a shelter to stay. But when I go down there, the first impression that I met Mother Christina was she's a fat lady sitting down there. The first question she asked me, because I just came out from prison for a 1 year sentence. So she first question asked me that, are you hungry? Did you eat? She straight away get the staff to go and buy some food for me.
Wow.
So that is how I feel that, who is this lady? Why she more concerned about, am I hungry? Got I any food to eat?
Yeah.
Get someone bring for me food. Then the next person that I see is late Pastor Philip. The first question he asked me is, why you come here? So that time straight away come to my mind, I want to change. So she just keep quiet, she just walk away. So after I stay down there a period, so I find out that the kind of love both of them give to me is like, I'm not related to them. Why they give me a place, the shelter to stay, why they show so much of love for me.
Yeah.
But still inside my heart, I'm not changed yet. Because I have my own thinking, I have my own motive that I just want to work, I just need money. But down the road I experience that is not important to me. The important to me is I have to change my own character. And I want to share another thing is, when on 2010, I came to hiding place 2010 month 9. So that time we were just preparing pineapple tarts, we cooking the jams, all these. So I baptized on month 11, 28. So on baptized that day, there's a pastor come and share, before that there's a pastor come and share a statement saying that in America there's a young little lady, when giving offering, she asked the usher to bring the bag, put on the floor. So the usher was quite surprised why this lady asked him to do that. So he just put the offering bag on the floor. But the little girl stand on the offering bag. saying that, God, I create my life. I surrender my life to you. So on the baptized that day, I make that prayer, but I forget. The next week, actually I got into accident in hiding place, where I was cooking the pineapple jam. My shirt being hooked by the machine, so the machine go through to my body. I got 2nd degree burn, 3rd degree burn, 4th degree burn. Then my back have broken ribs, 5. I was in SGH for 3.5 months. So that time I still remember when I was from Gothic Storm, I transferred to SGH because burn unit. I was crying when I was in Gothic Storm to SGH. I was asking myself, why must I go through all this? Lord, I accepted you. I trust in you. Why must I go through all these things? And the doctor telling me that I need to go through 5 more major op. From now, I think 11 years, I think at least I go through 11 ops. Big operation, small operation. But always God is with me. Like, go back to what just now I was saying. When I reached SGH A&E, I was crying. The next, I straight away sent to burn unit. Then the doctor telling me that you have to prepare yourself that we have to craft away your leg, the bone, so you may not walk as normal. When I hear that, I really very down. I say that, why? I keep on asking God, why this happening? But the first, when Pastor Philip came in to the ward to see me, he tell me one sentence. That sentence really touched me. And he's saying that, don't worry, anything happen to you, hiding place will take care of you. So I was telling myself that, wow, who is this man there to give me this kind of promise? Which I never hear anyone give me this kind of promise before. So on that day when he going home, he give me an MP3. So I listened the song. When come to one song, it's really like give me so many energy that God is with me. The song is The Joy of the Lord is my strength. So all the op that I going through, I all go through with the joy of the Lord is my strength. Even the nurse operation come out, the nurse asked me, you seems like very happy going for op, you keep on smiling. Because I tell them that my heart was thinking, I know who is with me. And that is the first miracle when in the machine, I want to share is, when I hook on the machine, I've been calling for help. No one hear me. No one come and help me. But when I call, God help me. There's a deaf brother, old man, run to the machine and stop the machine. Which the brother don't know where the button is. So that is the first miracle that happened on me. The second miracle that happened at the machine is, I've been hanging on the machine for 3 hours, no breathing. We may jokingly saying that all the facts protect me, that the blood cannot come out. But it's really God stop the blood. Then the third miracle that happened on the machine is, when I go to hospital, doctor, like just now I mentioned, doctor say that my leg, they need to graft back the bone. I cannot walk as normal. I believe just now you all see, I don't share, I don't tell you all, you also don't think that I got so many scars in my body. After the operation, the doctor come out, tell me that you must be very lucky. But when he go to outside, tell Pastor Philip, he's saying that this guy must be someone helping him. If no, he died. So who is the someone? That time maybe I still don't understand that. Actually, who is the someone? But today I can boldly and tell you that it's Jesus Christ that really saved my life on that machine. So that is how I go through experience that how God is so real to me. And I start to open my heart. I start to surrender my life. I start to understand why He saved me so many times. Why I say so many times. Because before I came to hiding place, I was I can say that no use person. Because I went through prison more than 10 years. And I still remember when I was staying in, like last time my house down there, When people see me, people will straight away turn away, say that this guy no hope already. So I've been trying so many ways to change my life, try to marry, try to start a business, try to even go to Philippines, but no way I can make it. Even I get myself more worse. I even tempted to commit suicide in Philippines by eating rat poison, by eating sleeping pill. You know, I eat almost 2 boxes of rat poison, 80 tablets of sleeping pill. The next day I wake up, nothing, but whole body rashes. When I was in Philippines, 2017 to 2019. So the next day I wake up, the whole body rashes. I hear a very sweet voice, nice voice telling me that I created you, it's not like that. Go back. So I was thinking, go back, how to go back Singapore? I overstay, I got no money. My ex-wife don't want me, kick me out from the house. I just living in a village with nothing, with a dog. But the voice tell me again, go back. So I call my ex-wife to say that, please help me. And God really opened the door for me to come back to Singapore. And that is why when I mentioned earlier, I served my sentence 1 year. When I came out, that's how I end up into hiding place. So like what I say, God have really saved me many, many times. But before that, I really don't know. It's really I experienced the love of God through Pastor Philip and Mother Chunyo, because I understand that the kind of love both of them give to us, not even me, the whole hiding place, is not a normal love that human can give. It's really through God. And they really spend their whole life been staying in hiding place with us 24/7. They really stay in hiding place. I want to say again, they really stay in hiding place 24/7 with us. Even today, Mother Chunyo still staying with us down there, and we are taking care of her. Although she bedridden, can't move, but we are still taking care of her because she really a mother to us. And that is how I really open up. When I finish my program, I start to commit my life to the Lord. Then I start to serve. And I've been serving in hiding place, like what I said, 11 years. And today, I'm married with two boys. I think I today have all this is without Jesus Christ. He will not be giving me, I will not be sitting down here and sharing how goodness that He really touched me and really changed my life. I think that is how God true to me.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And it's just amazing that because of all the experiences you've gone through, you felt the love firsthand, and now you are back in hiding place serving. And just now you mentioned 24/7, and we were chatting over dinner, and you told us that every single staff is stay in 24/7. That's amazing. Could you share more about that?
Yeah, actually, hiding place required all the staff which want to serve, we have to stay in 24/7. Even our leaders now, Pastor Hoseng, have been serving in hiding place more than 37 years. He's also staying in with us together. Like what I say, I'm married. Thank God now I have a own room that my wife can come over 1 week, maybe 3 times, 4 times. But in previously, when I don't have not enough room, I don't have any room, I have to stay with the resident. I think 1 week I only see my wife 1 time. So sometimes I'm jokingly saying that, wow, thank God there's such a woman that willing to see the husband 1 week 1 time and dare to marry me. I think this is already by the grace of God that we can do that. Because why are we saying that we have to stay with the boys together 24/7? Because if you want to help a person, you can't say that bring him in and just leave him down there 8 to 5. Then after 8 to 5, okay, I have time to go home. You handle yourself. We really have to stay down there with the boys. Then we have to understand them. When they need help, we are down there to talk to them. Because sometimes when you stay long enough with the boys, you will know that the boys, the the good point of him. I think many times we learn that drug, alcohol, even gambler is not a big issue for us. We can quit that anytime. I think the main issue or the main, the biggest enemy for us is ourselves. This is what I learned from the hiding place. It's our own character. Because if our character don't change, we no point talking. Because if your character don't change, you go out to the world, you still cannot make it. This is why we need God in our life that really change our character to mold us to be a better person, which this part is like from young, a shortage of that. Because I want to say one more thing is, I sometimes really regret that why I come to 36 years old, then I know that there's a halfway house, there's a place can give an ex-offender or a drug addict a hope. I've been lost in the world for 36 years. I've been trying to change my life for 36 years. I can't make it. I thank God that He found me. Really, He found me in 2010, that He bring me back to His family, that I experience His love. If without hiding place that I can experience God, I don't think I have that relationship with God. Because from young, I don't have a father. You tell me about father love, what is father love? And you tell me God is father. God loves us. So I don't have a father. I don't know what is love. Then how are you going to tell me what is love? And thank God it's through hiding place I experience the mother love, the father love from both of them. Then I understand that that is the love that I hunger for, and that is the thing that I've been working so hard to find, but I can't find. But in hiding place is so freely given to us. Yeah. And that is how we surrender our life to the Lord. Oh. I think that is the wonderful thing I learned in hiding place. Oh.
Thank you so much for sharing. And, you know, I think the first time I've heard about hiding place was your cookies, actually. You know, so I've always heard about it, but, you know, never really knew in depth for what you guys do. So maybe you can share, in the hiding place, what sort of other ministries do you guys have besides, you know, selling cookies and raising funds?
I think, thank God, now we finally have a central kitchen that our cookie is licensed. I think our central kitchen, the main purpose is we want to let the boys to experience work. So central kitchen also part of our program. When they finish program, they want to continue to stay on. So we have a place for them to experience what is work. So we let them try, let them learn how to cut the vegetable, how to cook a rice, or how to fry any other thing. I think that is the thing that we need. Even for the cookies, yes, I remember Pastor Philip always tell us, 1 month is not important of the making the money. It's the important that we can work together, unity together. We work as a team. We rest as a team. We work as a family. We rest like a family. I think that is the main thing we can learn. Even though we also have our house remover, that we also got one team of brothers that are working very hard as a team. So that is the thing that we can learn from down there.
And you mentioned you guys do catering now as well?
Yeah, we're doing some bento set. Thank God that Trinity Christian Center allowed us to rent the place. So we have doing some small bento. Even now we are starting to prepare the next year pineapple jam for our pineapple cookies.
That's awesome. And I think now might be a good time for us to share a link and to the Hiding Place website, where you guys can sign up for their newsletter and you can keep in touch with what they're doing. And on their website, you will find ways to be able to contribute and support as well. And one thing I definitely wanted to bring up is, you know, when I think it was in 2009 when Hiding Place gave up its IPC status. So actually that would have helped a lot, you know. But maybe you can share with us why Hiding Place decided to give up that status.
On which year we give up, I'm not very clear. But what I know is when we last time in IPC, that there's some sort of, because IPC is linked to government. So you know, when we are linked to government, we cannot talk much of Jesus Christ. So finally, the director and Pastor Philip want to make a stand that if a Christian cannot talk about Jesus Christ, then what can we talk about? And you ask me that as a drug addict, Jesus Christ is my hope. Jesus Christ is my Savior. Like what just now I mentioned, Jesus Christ is my Father, my everything. If you ask me, don't talk about my Father, then who am I going to talk about? So I think Hiding Place make the stand that we want to continue proclaim Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. So we withdraw our IPC. So from down there, we are really a faith ministry that we really trust God. I think God is really so faithful. Been so many years, He never shortchanged of us. And we managed to have our own property that we can continue to serve God. Down there is all provided by God people.
Yeah, so for those of you watching from overseas, and if you're not sure what IPC status is, it's being registered as a charity, and with that comes some government support, subsidies, and grants, I think, and you can get some tax rebates when you contribute as well. So I think that would have helped a lot, but the founders and decided to forego that, to make a stand about who they believe and who they entrust, and now it's just going purely by faith, right? You were mentioning you have 11 staff total.
Yeah, now we total have 11 staff. We have 16 residents, 1 student, and 3 project helper. All this really is we have to live by faith, but we really thank God that God, like what I mentioned, God never shortchanged us. He will provide us. When I first day came to Hiding Place, I don't know whether you remember, just now I mentioned one sentence that Pastor Philip promised me that, don't worry, Hiding Place will take care of me. And I tell you frankly, until today, Hiding Place still taking care of me. Not even me, my family. I think I really believe that when we put our hope and trust in Jesus Christ, we will not feel disappointed. He will always down there for us.
Amazing. Yeah, I think we can also share the UEN codes, and I think another way is definitely to visit the Hiding Place website as well, and you guys can contribute directly to them, and supporting the ministry that they do. And it's not easy. I really can imagine the amount of the energy needed to really walk with someone. I think spending time and with other humans can be pretty tiring, I'm sure. Yeah, but and you mentioned you guys are there 24/7 for them. It's not just after work and leave them be. So I think you guys are doing amazing work, and yeah, if any one of you can relate to that and want to just support them, financially or as a volunteer as well. I saw on your website, what can people help in terms of volunteering?
In New Year time, we need a lot of volunteers to help us to make the cookies. This is one thing. Then the second thing is, we also help a lot of youth to help them to get back to the society by helping them to get an O-level. I think Hiding Place, we thank God that we've got one group of volunteer teachers helping us. When we have students, we will encourage them to come take a private O. So there's a teacher to come and teach them. I think I remember from one student mentioned before that he got 7 teachers or 9 teachers helping him for O-level. And all this is those volunteers that willing just spend their time to come and teach freely. Not say they come, they will charge the boys how much. They will every week come so free, take their own transport or take private transport to come. Even last time we are in Seoul Ulu place, Choa Chu Kang, they will just come, they will just commit to teach. I think that is also the volunteer part that we need. Tuition teacher, we need volunteer that when we are doing cookies, can help us. Maybe also can some volunteer to order some bento set.
Yeah. So I think now your cookies are available all year round, right?
Yeah, actually the pineapple tarts, pistachio, all this we do sell the whole years. You can keep call us to order. It's fresh make, but you have to give us some time, like give us 1-2 days to make it out lah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I think there's so many ways that you guys can support and help this wonderful ministry. And maybe Caleb, anything else you would like to share?
I want to share one more thing is, I really truly thank God that who am I today is really by His grace. Because sometimes I sit down there and think back and reflect my life. Been lost, I go through one period that I more prefer in prison because I cannot survive in the world. Because as a drug addict, there's really no hope. I go through that kind of downward life. Because when I was so bad that time, you know those kind of rice, which I don't think nowadays got people eating, those kind of broken rice. I'm eating that kind of broken rice with fat meat and have to divide it into breakfast, lunch, dinner. If I eat a bit more in the breakfast, I will not have food for my dinner. And I go through that kind of life that I pick up cigarette in the dustbin. And I go through that kind of life that when people eat balanced food, I take and eat. And now I think back that life that God really given to me is a normal human life. I want to encourage people that there's always a hope in Jesus Christ. You just have to really surrender and open up your heart to Him and let Him come into our life. Because even the whole world think that I'm useless, but God really bring me up that today I can be a testimony to my son. I can be a testimony to my wife. And so I can also be a testimony to my brothers. I think that is the thing that I'm really proud that I have Jesus as my father.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's just amazing that you're paying it forward. You know, you're journeying with other people, 16 other brothers who are with you in the hiding place now.
I think it's not. I am alone. I don't think we can do it. We thank God that hiding place is really have a good team of staff that we're really working together to work that goal. Because every of the staff in hiding place, we have that kind of heart to help the brothers. Because we all experience the love of God through hiding place, through Mother Christina, through Pastor Philip. That's why we want to give back that kind of love to help someone. And we believe that everyone there's a hope. Really, everyone there's a hope. When you really come to the place that you really want to experience it.
Cool. You know, Caleb, before you go, I just want to jump in the comments and let's see if anyone maybe might ask a question or have any comments. Let me just look through. Oh, we have Z Low. You say, even though I do not have the religion conviction anymore, but I always remember and appreciate what Hiding Place has done and taught me close to 2 decades ago. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that you're watching the live stream today, Zed. Thank you so much. Let's see. Okay. So once again, I'm gonna just flash up the UEN code, which you can pay now directly into either the General Operations Fund or the Building Fund. And, you know, I definitely want to talk about the building, you know, because over dinner, you guys have moved several times, but now you actually have your own property, you know, freehold. Maybe you can share a bit about how that all happened.
Wow, that is also a great miracle that how God provide. I think when 2012, when government need to take back the land from Jalan Kayu, we are really lost. We don't have any place to go, but we thank God for great Christian brothers that own a farm. So he allowed us to stay in the farm for 8 years. So when we stay in the farm, Pastor Philip been touched by the Lord, saying that he want to commit he end of the life or the last stage of the life to buy a property for the hiding place. So he really committed, and God really provide. And now we have our own property that we can stay in. We no need to worry to move anymore because this property is freehold. And God really touched by the people. Sometimes, because from the first day until today, I've been helping on the project. I see miracle and miracle happening. And how we get this praise is, wow, there's so many things I can share. Just make an example. I think when few months ago we saw this property, but Pastor Philip said that maybe not so suitable for hiding place, we don't want. Then after few months later, we got no choice because government need to take back the land. So this property come back to our mind that, hey, maybe we should go and take a look. But if after a few months, we don't know whether it's sold already.
Yeah.
No. So Pastor Philip was telling me that maybe you go and search whether it's the property still around. I remember I searched until 3 a.m. Suddenly this property pop up again. So I said, hey, how, Pastor? Tomorrow we go down and take a look. He said, okay. So we drive down there, we park outside. So I said, how? We don't have any agent, we don't know anyone how to go into the property and see, because it's still selling. So I said, how, Pastor? Let's pray. He said, okay. So I make the simple prayer. I say, God, if this property belong to us, allow us to go in. So after I make the prayer, I say, maybe I call our friend, agent, see whether he can help us on that. So I call her. She said, hey, this property, I know the agent. Say, is it? I said, is there any way to let us go in? He said, where are you? I said, we are in front of the gate. He said, I call. So she called. Then after that, a while she called back. He said, the owner said that she's going out and the husband is not around, so maybe next time. So I said, okay, then I dropped the phone. But within seconds, she called back again. He said, the owner said that if you are nearby, you just drop by. So I straight away drive the car, go in. The owner was shocked. The owner's sister was scolding us, saying that, how can you all come without any agent? It's not right. But when the owner, the lady, saw us, he said, never mind. You come. I bring you walk around. Then he realized that Pastor Philip is a pastor. He said, oh, yeah, I think this house belongs to you. I said, huh? So we from down there, we contact without any agent. No? We just make the deal, call, we give offer this price. He said cannot, then we offer back. In the end, we find out that someone offer a higher price than us. But the lady comment this sentence, say that, many years ago, I bought this house, God bless me this house. Now I want to bless this house back to someone that's serving the Lord. And that is how we buy our property. And I remember that we have our own small property in Tufu. Been many years we can't sell because it's a very old property and someone offer the price very lipu. Because we offer 1.8 million. People can tell you 900,000. People can tell you 1.1 because it's an old house. So we keep the house, we don't sell. But when we commit buy this house, there's a young couples suddenly call our agent, pass him a 1%, and without viewing the house, and without any asking any discount, he just pay the 1%, say we want to buy the house. And this is how God provide. When we commit to buy, God send people to buy our house. That is really, I told you, miracle and miracle that happening in hiding place even until today. We really see that God really bringing us to a level that we only can bow down to Him, know that you are God. You are the one who taking control of everything, even the house, even our life, even our family. If without you, there won't be hiding place. Hiding place is really belong to God. That's the thing that I really saying that all glory belong to Him.
It's just amazing provision. And just now over dinner I was joking with you. I was telling you one episode not enough. Like Hiding Place needs their own TV drama series. But it's just so amazing. And thank you once again for sharing.
Thank you.
If you guys want to know more, please check out their website and reach out. If you want to volunteer, support. Buy their cookies, bento sets. I think there's a lot we can do to support the good work that you guys are doing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Caleb, for being here. And maybe I can invite the band back, and we're gonna do a very appropriate song. Hope you guys will enjoy this next one. So thank you.
Something just came to mind while I was listening to Brother Caleb talk about, after praying and miracles happen. And, sometimes people, my old self, my pre-Jesus self would be like, just coincidence lah. You pray, then it just so happened to have happened, right? So I always have that kind of doubt in my mind. But I think, when it happens so many times in a row, I want to quote like the Archbishop of Canterbury, who said, like, when I pray, coincidences happen. When I don't pray, coincidences don't happen. So make of that what you will. But I think for the people here who are present, we're very sure and very certain where these miracles come from, why things line up, So yes, this song is called Hiding Place.
In the distance I can see the storm clouds coming my way, and I need to find a shelter before it starts to rain. So I turn and run to you, Lord. You're the only place to go, where our failing love surrounds me when I need it the most. You're my hiding place, safe in your embrace. I'm protected from the storm that rages, and when the waters rise and I run to hide, Lord, in you I'll find my hiding place. I'm not asking you to take away my troubles, Lord, 'cause it's through the stormy weather I'll learn to trust you more. But I thank you for the promise that I have come to know. Your unfailing love surrounds me when I need it the most. And you're my hiding place, safe in your embrace. I'm protected from the storm our hiding place. Yes, Lord, in you we find our hiding place.
A song called Hiding Place. And yeah, we really want to thank Brother Caleb for sharing so boldly. And, you know, at the side, I really was getting goosebumps just thinking about all the stories and how God has really provided for not just Caleb, but his family, the hiding place, all of the people involved and who are still continuing to be blessed by their ministry. So I think we can both also say that even how this current studio came to be and how we are all still here as full-time musicians, it's really nothing but God's provision. And the next guest that we have can also testify to that as a fellow musician, which I will be very happy to introduce. So our next guest is Gregory Tan, and he is a music composer and mixing engineer that specializes in hybrid orchestral and sound design genres. His music is currently represented by a number of respectable international publishers and labels such as Warner Chappell, BMG Production Music, Gothic Storm, the Emmy-winning CrimeSonics, and Wukong Trailer Music. His music has been used in various TV shows and networks across the globe, including Paramount Plus, Comedy Central, VH1, and more. And Greg also he had composed music for VR Hero Century, a virtual reality game that's developed by Refocus Solutions in Denmark. And he's also gone on to do amazing stuff, and all from Singapore. So I'm really happy and privileged to invite Greg on the show. Greg, hello.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having me.
Yay, we're so glad.
Thank you.
So
thank
everybody,
you.
if you're watching right now, please say a warm hello. You can wave, give a wave, and just say, hi, Greg.
Hello, yo.
Yes. So I'm so glad that we finally connected after I had been hearing about you for a while, but only had the privilege of connecting with you like end of last year, right?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah, through Shane, who is, controlling behind the scenes. Shout out to Shane as always. Yeah, so I think a lot of people will be very interested to find out, what does it mean that you are a music composer as a full-time job? What is that like?
Basically like the little blurb before this described. So I'm basically a composer that specializes in music for movie trailers, advertising, TV shows, and video games. So I create, I guess, what you could call the audio assets for that kind of for those kinds of multimedia.
That's really incredible all on its own, because prior to meeting you, I had no idea this even existed as a career. Talk about like movie trailer composing.
Yeah.
I literally thought that it was the same people who scored films, who did trailers.
That's a common thing.
Yeah, so amazing. And we have this talent right here in Singapore. So tell us a little, I want you to toot your own horn a little bit. Like what are some of the biggest projects or most proud of projects that you've done?
Okay, so barring all the NDAs that I cannot break.
Yes. Other than that.
But I mean, I can say like the brands and the companies that I've worked for. So I think one of the biggest would probably be, and the most recent would be Tencent Games. So I mean, they're like the largest game developer on the planet. So I'm very fortunate to have done some stuff with a friend, another composer as well, Se.A, if you're watching this for some reason.
Shut up.
Yeah, but yeah, so like we are both of us, like we had to do some work for them. That was really fun, and I recently had to I think the term is trailerize a piece of pop music, and that track was from a multi-Grammy winner, and he had to actually approve the final draft before it went to be cut to picture and all that kind of stuff. So these are some of the opportunities that I've had to work on. Other shows that I've had music in, probably WWE, stuff on MTV, yeah, VH1, Comedy Central, a lot of European TV shows for some interesting reason. Yeah, so that's I guess the summary of things.
Yeah, it makes me really proud as a Singaporean and a friend
Thank you.
to know that your music, a music that's been composed by a Singaporean, is actually out there like globally. People hear your music, even if they don't know who was the one written, who was the one who wrote it. But the fact that it is there and that it's something that's created by a Singaporean is out there makes me really, really proud.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, so how did you even start on this path, And yeah, for people who might want to know the beginnings of this career,
Right.
how does it begin? How did it begin for you?
Okay, so I guess for the good number of years of my life, I was always a musician. So I started out as a violinist. I started really young. I was like 6 when my parents made me take lessons. And like I asked for it at the same time, like, at some point when you don't want, then they're like, no, I paid so much money for you. All right, cool. All right, so from about 6 to 15, I did the whole, classical syllabus, ABRSM, Trinity, all that kind of stuff. And then I completed my grade 8 in violin, and I decided to pick up the guitar because I thought classical is so uncool for a teenager, like you associate it with like maybe like the nerds and that kind of thing. And being a very vain kid growing up, I thought that, this is not for me, it's not cool enough,
Right.
And then so I moved to pick up the guitar after that. So it continued for a while. I wanted to do the whole band thing, try and be a rock star, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of vanity involved. And yeah, so basically fast forwarding to a time where I had to go overseas to study. A whole bunch of events happened along the way that I felt, looking back now as a Christian, it brought me quite far away from God in terms of what I was doing and mentally. I was listening to a lot of genres that were quite dark in some sense, and they were not glorifying to him, obviously, in many ways. And I was living a certain lifestyle that, on the outside, like, your parents know you, your friends know you, and like, yeah, you're a cool guy. But like, there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on, right? So I had a lot of issues with church in general. And I went to Melbourne, Australia. That's where I did my undergraduate. God moved my heart. He really, like I say, he constantly did heart surgery on me, and I had to unlearn a whole bunch of things, including the reasons why I was doing music. And I came to the point where I didn't want to do stage music anymore. I didn't want to be on the stage anymore because I felt that I was doing things out of vanity. I was doing things for the wrong reason. I was trying to be in the limelight, and this happened even when I was serving in church. This happened even when, whether I was in church or whether I was doing the pub circuit, which I did in Australia, right? I kept, trying to grab the attention, right? And, being a performer yourself, you know that the body language on stage, tells a lot, right? And so at some point, I was like, okay, I don't think I want to do music because, if calling attention to myself is the only way that I get to do music, then maybe it's not for me, right? So around 2013, as God was doing work on my life, I started to rediscover this desire to do music, and but I struggled, with that stage ministry thing, the whole like vanity thing, right? So this was when I started fiddling around with production stuff. All right, and I was like, hey, cool, I can make my own sounds and whatever not, right? And yeah, I was just like things were really, really disastrous. When you first record yourself, you first record your voice, you're like, oh dear, do I sound like that?
It's gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, am I that bad? And that kind of stuff. Yeah, so around the end of 2013, one of my closest friends who is studying in the US, we all came back to Singapore. We celebrated Christmas together and stuff. And 3 days later, he passed away, and that was when I was 21. All right. So it had a huge impact on me, and out of nowhere, I just asked through a friend to his family, and I asked, like, do you guys mind if I maybe write something in remembrance of him? right? So this track that I wrote and the friends who heard it, they were like, dude, this sounds like something you would hear in a film. And I was like, what do you hear in a film? I don't I don't pay attention to anything apart from whatever's on the screen, right? Like, no, film music, it's a thing. Then I'm like, what is film music? All right, so I went to do research, right? And from there, it started like a whole chain of events, right? That led to me realizing that there is a way to do music without calling attention to yourself, right? And that for me was, I felt something that God had asked me to do or had positioned me in a place to do. So that was really my whole start to writing music for picture or multimedia, if you will. Yeah.
How many of your current contemporaries actually know this story?
Actually, very few, because it's something that, I've struggled with sharing a lot, just because I didn't want to make it seem like it's a very, dramatic thing of how I got into music, right? Because I could always like scale it down and just say like, I wrote music because, I like film music. I was inspired by Hans Zimmer or John Williams, right? But, that's a partial truth, right? And I think it came to a point where I'm like, I become quite guarded towards what I say and to whom and under what circumstances and things like that. So I think very few of my peers know like this is like the real reason, if you will, what got everything going for me. But yeah.
I'm really happy that now it's immortalized on a live stream so that you can next time when people want to it's okay, like when people like look up your name in future, I really hope that they get to hear the story, because sometimes when we are, of course, we're going through a difficult period and it's hard to see how this can turn into anything good.
Yeah.
But from your story, just the beginning of it, something beautiful came out of something that was tragic.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you're here and that we're having this conversation. And I know that you've prepared 3 songs for us to demonstrate on your behalf, to illustrate on your behalf. So would you like us to go into the first one and we can continue the rest of your story later?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know how many people enjoy like trailer-style music, but yeah, I just hope it doesn't like blow the speakers or something.
No, that's okay. We can play the music that you, the 3 songs that we're going to perform.
Sure.
And then we can direct people to your music later.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
awesome.
sure.
Shall we invite Daniel and
you.
Michelle back? Thank you, Greg.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God. He to to grace, how great a debtor daily I am constrained to be. Let thy goodness like a fetter bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it for thy courts above. How your kindness yet pursues me, how your mercy never fails me, till the day that death shall lose me. I will sing, oh, I will sing, and how your kindness yet pursues me, how your mercy never fails me, till the day that death shall lose me. I will sing, oh, I will sing, till that day that death shall lose me. I will sing, oh, I will
Thank you so much, Michelle and Daniel. There was a song called Come Thou Fount, and it is a newer, updated version which has a parenthesis, I will sing. And at this point, I'd like to ask Greg back so I can ask him why he chose this song and what this song means to him. So why this song, Greg?
Why this song? It's kind of funny. Like in general, like even though I've always written like very, very bombastic, hard-hitting, hybrid orchestral kind of stuff, my favorite songs are actually hymns. And hymns perhaps not necessarily done in the most traditional sense, but hymns nonetheless. Right, and I think like this song, "Come Down Fount," is actually it originally was a hymn before this Chris Tomlin version. So yeah, always like a little bit old school stuff, but mixed with the modern. Yeah, and I find that hymns really speak to you in a way that, frankly, I can't name another genre of music that actually does. And I feel that it's so powerful because if you read the history of some of these hymns, like a lot of them were written at a time of where the author or the lyricist was going through tremendous pain or really difficult circumstances, and yet they have written music that has transcended generations and time and stuff, and I guess in a way that inspires me, as a creative and as a Christian. So
That's so wonderful. Yeah, I guess we don't need to look any further. Just look into the Book of Psalms, right? So much of it was born out of turmoil, and the fact that we're still reading it today and it's still inspiring people to write music to the words that were written so many years ago is testament to that.
Yeah.
So with that, I'd like to ask you, were hymns a part of your childhood? Does that form part of the reason why it means so much to you? Like, have you always been a Christian?
I think, well, it's kind of a two-part question, right?
Yes,
so I'll
it
say, yes, hymns were a part of my childhood. I mean, I grew up in church. I attended like Bible study and all that kind of stuff, and have been serving in church like from a young age. But I think to really ask me, was I a Christian? I was, in terms of if you were going to define that by have I said the sinner's prayer and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know what it meant to have a relationship with God. I didn't even know that existed until like I went overseas and someone told that to me. I was just like, huh, what's that? Like, you can have that? How? How come 21 years I never heard before? That kind of stuff. Yeah, so yes, hymns were a large part, but I think, it's just like, especially as a kid growing up, you just read, you just like, you just think like, why do people sing these slow songs, and like, it's so uncool, man, like, get with the times and stuff, right? And then as you grow older, you're like, I love these old songs. Like, you know, they're beautiful. They speak to you. They speak to the soul and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
Really, that's really funny. You know, was there a turning point for you? You know, when was it when your friend told you that you could have a relationship with God? You know.
Honestly, like, oh, you mean like when I started looking at hymns differently?
Yes, that and also your relationship with God. When was there a turning point?
Okay. So
You can answer both
yeah.
hymns as well as your relationship with God.
It's very funny because the hymns thing was a gradual thing. It's like only now, I guess, when I'm a little bit older and I look back and I listen, you know, I'm surrounded by a lot of synthesized music, a lot of electronic elements in music. You know, like gone are the days where you have like typical like 4-piece, 3-piece bands playing purely on stage and without some kind of electronic element anymore. Yeah, so I guess like to find a sort of escape, you know, I tend to gravitate to older school stuff. Anything from hymns to like, you know, even 60s, 70s, 80s music. Like for some reason, it just, you know, it touches me in a different way. But in terms of the turning point of finding out what it means to have a relationship with Christ, I think going back to my time in Australia, I remembered like I left Singapore in the middle of the year, July, term started July. And when I landed, you know, I was in a rocky places, you know, like the church, you know, and my walk as a Christian and stuff. You know, I viewed going to Australia as an opportunity to run away from problems that I had here, only to realize that it doesn't matter where you are, the problems pretty much follow you if you do not resolve them. Right? So I was in this new place and it felt really foreign. I had no idea what was going on. And I was desperate to like make this time count because, you know, it takes a lot to send you overseas and stuff. So I was contemplating a lot. What should I do with my time? Should I go to church? You know, should I not go to church? Should I like, you know, leave Christianity behind or whatever, right? Either crisis of faith. And out of nowhere, I started getting spams on my phone, like my text messages, my WhatsApp started going off. And this guy, who was my former classmate in secondary school, he was just like, Greg. I was like, yo, dude, like, why are you spamming me? And you're like, you're all the way in Ireland, I'm in Australia, like, why are you texting me at some awkward hour, which I assume, right? Yeah, and he's just like, oh, I heard you landed in Melbourne. You gotta contact this guy. I'm like, who's this guy? Why would I contact him? Like, you know, it's like, just do it. I heard he goes to church. You know, I'm like, bro, you're backslidden Christian yourself. You know, you're telling me like, you know, like you're spamming me to contact this guy because he goes to a church. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just do it so that you will stop texting me, not because, you know, like I actually really wanted to go to church, right? So I messaged this guy. This guy brings me to church. And it's so weird. The moment I stepped foot into church, like I started tearing and I had no idea why. And if you knew the me back then, I was extremely hard-hearted. I was very prideful. I had a lot of issues. And it's like the whole like, oh, I don't cry in public kind of thing, right? But it was uncontrollable and it was just extremely weird. And I'm like, it's the first time in this church. I'm meeting this guy for the first time. He's going to think I'm weird. People around me are going to think I'm weird, right? And it was strange because no one seemed to care, right? And everyone, you know, just seemed to be so abundant in their desire to worship, you know. And I was just like, why is everyone here so different? You know, this is not what I was brought up with, right? And afterwards, I learned, you know, like, hey, you can have a relationship with God, but you know, you have to be willing to take that step. Right? And I'm like, what do you mean? I've been a Christian all my life, you know, that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, you know, that's cool. But do you really know what it means to know the Father's heart, not just know about Him from a book, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So pretty much, that was a time where, you know, in my life where I rededicated myself to the church, to Christ, you know, and things just went on after that. Yeah.
I find it so amazing that your friend who was all the way in Ireland felt the need to tell you to meet that particular friend who's in Australia.
Yeah.
It was. So that you could have that experience stepping into church and to have, you know, a moment of reckoning, if you will, right? Yeah, and I think this is a good chance for us to reflect as Christians that how we how we treat other people is a make or break situation. You can
Yeah.
either other people can either encounter Christ through you, or they will have a misconception of what being walking with Christ is like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so super important to everybody out there who is a Christian, you know. Yeah, so I'm really glad that you had such a powerful experience in Australia, and from that point onwards, did you find a community amongst that church over there, or what was the rest of your time in Australia like?
Yeah, I did. I think one thing that I struggled with was because like initially early on I said I landed in Melbourne thinking like I'm gonna leave all my problems back home behind, right? And I remembered very clearly in the middle of 2014, you know, like God was like, "You're going home to Singapore after you graduate," and I'm like, yo, no, man, I'm gonna stay in Australia. Like, this place is like heaven. Like, I discovered coffee there. You know, I discovered a lot of good stuff there, cafe
Amazing.
culture, and you know, just the whole international student life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, nope, it was such a clear thing. It was ironic because I was actually traveling in New Zealand at the time. I was just thinking like, oh, my all the friends that I'm traveling with right now are gonna graduate soon, and I still have a year and two years or yeah, thereabouts like left here, and I was just thinking like, oh, what am I gonna do once I graduate? And I remembered hearing almost an audible voice which went, "You're going home," right?
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, no, you know, right?
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Made up my
yeah.
mind.
Pretty much, exactly, right? And then as time went by, I pretty much came to terms. I realized, like, you know, reading Jonah and stuff, it's better to listen to God than perhaps end up in the belly of a fish
Yep.
somewhere, right? So I kept saying, you know, like, it was very unwise of me to bargain with God, but I did anyway. And I kept saying, if you want me to go back home, tell me what I'm going back home for. Because it's kind of unfair, you know, if I go back home without knowing what's my purpose or whatever that means, right? Yeah, so during each summer break, I would fly home to Singapore to see my family. And each time I felt that I left the place with a renewed vision, like going back from Singapore to Australia. And it felt as though, like, you know, I was missing home, which was weird because I came from a point where I was running away
Yeah.
to the point where I'm, you know, missing the place that I ran away from. It usually doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm just like, what's up with that? Especially on material, you know, in terms of what I expected or what I liked from Australian society. I felt like, wow, this place is awesome. Like, there's everything here that there are so many of my boxes ticked, right? I would love to be able to stay here. And I remember like come 2014, 2015, God was like, oh, you're going to a creative field, right? And I'm like, what does that mean? That's so vague. There's like dance music, there's art, like what? And I can't do any of these things. Like, I can do music decently, but like everything else is just whatever, you know, like can't do any of those, right? And then like, yeah, my final year, he told me specifically, you're gonna enter like, you know, the music industry. And I was just like, yo, like, you remember I don't want this whole spotlight thing on myself, right? So I don't think there's a large, robust film industry for me to write music for anyway in Singapore. So like, am I going to be a starving artist, you know, kind of thing, right? Yeah, because just for, you know, listeners there, my major was not in music. Music was a minor, right? Or like, they call it like a breath track of sorts, like those terminologies. I actually majored in political science and sociology,
Wow.
right? So it had no relation to whatever God was calling me toward. And I was just like, you know, my parents are going to be quite annoyed if I tell them like, yeah, you spend a chunk of money, send me overseas, but I'm just going to do, you know, like, and it's not from like a safe industry to a safe industry, if you will. It's just like into deep unknown, right? And so, but sitting down with my dad one day going like, Dad, I think I'm going to do music. And then he looked at me and just went, huh, you sure? They're like, yeah, wait, you sure? And I'm like, I think so lah, you know. And he's just like, oh. Like, you can tell that he has like the skepticism, right?
Yeah.
Like the seed of doubt has been planted in his head, right? And I'm just like, yeah. And he's like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So that was essentially like almost like a segue of how I entered, if you will, the industry here. And honestly, when I came back, I felt very jaded towards the you know, the Singapore art scene in general. Not even just the music scene, but the art scene, right? When I was in Australia, I was very used to a very vibrant art scene. You know, people who were busking along the street, right? They would tell you things like, the local community supports us here so much that from our busking earnings alone, we can tour the entire continent,
Wow.
right? And I'm like,
That's
wow.
unheard of here.
Yeah, and the guy was like, yeah, it's not even my full-time job. I'm like,
Oh, that's
fine,
the
okay.
kicker, right?
Right, yeah, right. I'm just like, dude, like, this is not fair.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, and stuff like that. I mean, like, I have friends who teach in S.E.A, Melbourne, and things like that, and they invite me to their studios, and they go like, oh yeah, the Harry Potter films were mixed here and stuff. I'm like, that's not fair. Like, you know,
Yeah,
right, and I come back to Singapore, and, you know, I was just so, like, you know, like, disheartened towards the state of things over here. It was a point where, like, you know, there weren't many, there was a phase where some prominent acts, you know, like, had their sort of peak, and then now, like, you know, they were in a lull for a period of time. I was just like, what's there for me here, man? There's nothing going on, you know. And I think I made some comments that upset a few people as well. That was me learning how to be sensitive also, you know, towards, you know, people who pour their heart and soul into their crafts, right? So I mean, long story short, like, I got a job in-house doing audio, like, thankfully, even though it wasn't like my main degree, right? And 2 years later, I got let go on the first day of my honeymoon.
Oh, man.
And I was not given a substantial reason why, or something along the lines of, our goals and your goals seems to be different, and therefore we are letting you go. I'm just like, okay, like, whatever that means, right? And so, you know, I kept praying, and I'm like, God, I need something. You know, now I'm married, I have more than myself to be responsible about, right? I can't rely on, you know, my partner and my wife, right? And that was when I discovered music publishing, right? And I started to read, oh, there's this thing called sync licensing, there's this thing called music for advertising. And I remembered the stuff that I was doing, you know, in Australia, and like the whole thing with like my friends passing and all. I'm like, okay lah, you know, we give this a try lah. Don't know if Singapore anyone's doing this thing, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, you know, and fast forward, like, ever since then I've been doing this like 2 years-ish full time. Yeah, I mean, God has really opened doors. He's really provided for me. You know, like, really, if you told me one day that I'll have music used in some of the TV shows that I grew up watching, I'll just be like, yeah, you know, whatever that means, right?
Yeah.
Right, you know, but you know, yeah, God is so good. I think it's so surreal when one day, you know, you receive a detection. By the way, your track was used in WWE, for example. It's like, I remember watching that show as a kid, you know, like yeah, people just hitting each other and stuff, you know. Right?
Fake hitting each other.
Right, yeah, all the kind of things. I'm just like, wait, this feels weird. You know, it feels weird. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing these kind of things, right? But, you know, God allowed that to happen, right? And, you know, it just reminded me, like I may be based in Singapore, but I'm not limited, you know, to the geographical limits of the country, if you will, geographical landscape, right? And strangely enough, I find myself having more care and empathy towards the local community, to the point where, you know, everyone whom I meet, I just tell them, hey, if you're interested in publishing, speak to me. Like, you know, I'd love to be able to work on stuff together with you. But more importantly, I want to get to know you as a friend. And if we ever work together in the next 10 years or not, that's inconsequential. If we do, great. If we don't, that's also fine. I want to know how I can love the community more, how I can build the community more, right? And a lot of people look and then they go, but publishing, what is it? And then I find like I'm in a place of educating people, right? It's so intriguing, right? Like this is such a powerful thing for me, because never in my life would I have thought that I would yearn to come back to the place that I was running away from, you know, to go into the industry which I thought had no hope, you know. And now, ironically, finding myself immersed in the industry and also trying to build it up, you know, one person at a time, you know, and just telling people like, hey, I love to be able to tell you about publishing, you know, especially in times like these, you know, like, and all that kind of stuff. It's weird that everything that I said no to, that I looked down upon, that I, you know, sort of rejected, right? God is like, that's where you need to be.
He has a sense of humor.
Yeah,
that's for
just
sure.
like, okay, I mean, sure, you know, right? And it's weird. After I went down the whole publishing route, you know, I had job offers to go back in-house, right? And each time I knew, even when the job offer was fantastic, right? They were like, oh, you're going to get to build your own studio. We'll fund everything for you. You know, you're going to be our in-house guy. You can build your own team. You'll be a sound director, audio director and stuff, supervisor and all that. It's like, oh, wow, it's exciting. And then after the interview, I go home. I just like, something in me just goes like, no, this is not for you. Like, okay, God, you know, it's the kind of thing, right? And I like to believe like our Father knows where He wants us to be at what point in our journey, right? And I feel that, you know, I'm going to continually do this and see how I can give back to the community at the same time. And yeah, so
I really find it so incredible how the love of our Father is so greatly reflected in how open you are in sharing everything that you've learned, you know, and I think that is something that is very rare. Because we have been full-time musicians for a while as well, but for someone to be like on the first meeting, hey, what do you want to know anything about publishing and things like that? I'm just like, wow, this guy is great. And
did I say that? I don't even remember.
You know, the moment we met, you're just so open about everything and being so willing to almost like sow into people's lives. You know, I've experienced it so that you may experience it as well. And I think this might be a good time for us to go to the next song, which is How Deep the Father's Love for Us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that He should give His only Son to make a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of searing loss, the Father turns His face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon the cross, my sin upon His shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held Him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished.
how deep the Father's love for us indeed. And I really love this line. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Daniel. It says, I will not boast in anything, no gifts, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. And I love that so much. And I see that so clearly in Greg, whom I will, invite back again to talk more about why you chose this song and how this affects you. How feeling the depth of the Father's love for us has impacted your life and how you treat people.
I guess for this particular song, if you go through the lyrics, right, I think the line that always speaks to me is the one that the line which goes like, "Behold the man upon that cross," and how I hear my own mocking voice from amongst the scoffers. And it's like, it's a couple of things. One thing is that Christ, died for my sins which include arguably at some point in my life, mocking Christianity in some way, or like belittling what he did for me. And that always humbles me. It puts me in my place. It was one of those lines that always reminds me it's not about what I've done to deserve God's love, but how unrelenting his love has been, to chase me down, if you will, right? So yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think it really humbles us. And I've been there before I was a Christian. All those jokes that are at Jesus' expense and things like that, I've uttered them, I've laughed at them, and to know that regardless of how wretched we've been, he has done it. It's not like he will do it, he has already done it for us, for everybody out there. So that's something that, has completely transformed the way I behave as well, and how I look at people. And, it's definitely not a transactional thing anymore with people, because this is a great show of something that we don't deserve any of this at all. We didn't deserve him dying on the cross to reconcile us with the Father. Yeah, and I really see that so clearly in how you really have that desire to not just educate the creatives, but also in your want to build a community, to be able to lift everybody up. Would you want to share more about your desires for the creatives in Singapore?
I think, well, let's say pertaining to the music scene alone, there is a lot of potential. Like obviously, we all of us in the industry, we see that from our fellow musicians, our friends, and whether you're a producer, whether you're an artist, songwriter, everything, there is talent. There is no shortage of talent in Singapore. But there is perhaps a lack of some could say opportunity, some would say education, some would say a system in place where musicians could easily sustain themselves by doing what they love, instead of turning to things because they don't have a choice, right? My heart for the community is to really bring people together and to realize that, not only can we learn a lot from each other, but we can, I wouldn't really use the word collaborate with each other because that has a different connotation, but how we can sort of glean off each other, if you will, and exchange not just technical skills, because a lot of us, we are focused on technique, right? But how to perhaps run a sustainable music business, or how to get, what are royalties, what is mechanical royalties, what is performance royalties, all these kind of details, right? And how everyone can come together and go like, hey, I know a little bit about that topic, let me share it with you. And then go, oh, but this is just my experience. You might have a different experience, right? So on and so forth. So I would like the community to be, tighter, right? And also so that it keeps each other accountable to one another. Because, then you don't have stories from people outside the industry trying to undercut you, offer you a gig and, tell you it's going to be paid in exposure or something like that, right? I believe that we have an opportunity to become united and look out for one another, be accountable to one another, exchange ideas, exchange skills. Not everything is purely, about the monetary exchange, right? It can be a trade of skills, can be trade of whatever, there's a bunch of things, right? So, I haven't figured it out. I don't know what this is going to look like, but my heart is such that, I want to give back, and whatever that looks like, I'll let God lead, if you will. And I have been, frankly speaking, to a couple of producer friends and stuff, and we've all been talking about this idea of publishing, music publishing, like back-end royalties, sing fees, license fees, and all that kind of stuff. And it's something that I hope, this becomes more widespread, right? For instance, myself, I do trailer music, I do TV music. I dare say there's maybe about only 5 to 10 of us who actively do it in Singapore, and maybe 5 really pursue it. Right. I remember when I found some other guys, they were like, "Oh, dude, you too! It's been such a long time since we have someone,
must have been nice.
Yeah. It's like you find this other extinct species.
Your people.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm just like, huh? You mean there's no one else doing it? I'm like, no. Then they're all like, how did you get started? And, and we realized all of us just meander, and we made so many mistakes, we signed so many bad publishing deals, and because we don't know, right? There's no educational system that teaches us about that, right? And we stumble and we learn, and I think all of us can agree, that community, that small community of us, we have agreed, we don't want people to fall into the same situations where they sign a bad contract, they get a nasty deal, they lose the rights to their work and all that kind of stuff, right? So I guess it's also about empowering creatives to know their rights, and to know what is considered fair and the implications of things as well. For instance, if a composer or producer takes a project and it's really, really low, what you're doing is also you're sending a message to the client that, hey, they can get away with this, right? And they might repeat that, under different circumstances. Or they go, hey, your friend, person A, offers this price. Why are you offering so much more? Right? It's hard. Right? Whereas if you're tied as a community, it's easier to say, hey, no, I know person A, and he's my friend, she's my friend, and they don't charge this low. Right? So it's really a protective thing. It's an accountability thing. It's just being really close and united, and that's my dream, if you will. So yeah.
I share that same want, for creatives in Singapore, for musicians in Singapore. And I think the one silver lining that came out of COVID is that I'm beginning to see the creatives come together, because we know now we really cannot survive on our own, So I think even though we're currently still in a situation where it's painful, a lot of us are still struggling through a period of heavy uncertainty, and we don't know where that next paycheck, that next gig is going to come from. But I think that is one silver lining that is keeping me hopeful, because I do see the seeds of that happening. And if anything, I pray that we keep being obedient and keep hearing God's voice and see how we can veer it in that direction.
For sure.
I'm so happy that you're here to share all of this, and I hope that everybody watching also feels like there is a better way to move forward, and a less protectionist and a more sharing community, hopefully. And also, I realize I haven't plugged your music yet, so if you want to listen to Greg's amazing music, it's gregtanmusic.net/music. gregtanmusic.net/music. I will get Norman to put that up so you can enjoy it. Put on headphones, put them on really good speakers.
Thank you.
So that you can experience all of the layers of his work. It's gonna be beautiful. Is there anything else you would want to say to our viewers out there? Can be about anything at all.
Wow. Okay. I guess I think if I were to say anything, it would be to my fellow creatives or friends in the arts music scene in general. It's understandably a very trying time for a lot of us, especially if you were in the live music scene, right? Basically, that part of the industry just disappeared pretty much overnight, and just learn to be vulnerable and reach out if you really need assistance and you really need help. And I think this whole pandemic and this whole situation, one thing that it does is it really allows you or forces you, if you will, to prioritize, certain things, and to really look for alternatives, in similar situations, right? I know many of my live music friends who have turned to songwriting, you've turned to, streaming, all that kind of stuff. Yes, maybe, the financial aspect is kind of different. You have to adjust to something, you have to live on perhaps a lot less, but that's why all the more there needs to be a tighter community, so that people will know that you are not like, suffering in your bedroom, by yourself or something like that, right? I think maybe I could share also a little bit that my time in Australia, it wasn't all like rainbows and butterflies. There were certain financial situations that I struggled with over there as well. My dad's business basically went under when I was there, and it's kind of a scary situation to be in, and it sort of parallels, like, I can imagine what some of my friends are going through right now over here. I was struggling to pay rent and everything, like, when like landlords bang on your door, that kind of thing. It's quite scary, especially to someone who's living alone by yourself overseas, right? My uni threatened to withdraw my degree. There's a bunch of stuff. I was living literally on 1 meal a day, sometimes no meals a day, and things like that. And the feeling really sucks, especially when you're at 4 seasons, you winter, you go to sleep hungry. That's not a good feeling, that kind of stuff, right? So I look at my position now, like, I've been in places where I've had little and I've had a lot. And now when I think back, it doesn't change the way that I view life or I view, circumstances, if you will. So I just want to say, like, to my friends, if you're going through these kind of things, like, ask for help. Don't be like me, because I really didn't know how to ask for help. I was that prideful guy. I was that guy who, thought like, oh, no one needs to know my problems. Like, I'll settle everything by myself. Like, family stuff is family, that kind of thing, right? But I implore you, if you are going through hardships, if you are experiencing something, just reach out to people that you can share your problems to. Some people even do it on social media, if that's your thing, and don't be conscious about, like, don't be self-conscious, right? Because I'd rather you survive than you care about how other people look at you, right? To my friends in the arts especially, like, yes, it's a difficult time. If you need to leave the industry for a while to do something that sustains you in the meantime, there is no shame in that. There is no shame in a day job. There is no shame, that you have to put this thing aside for a bit, until we all get better and things start to come back, right? And yeah, lastly, again, if you need help, just feel free to ask for it. Yeah.
Exactly. Everything that he said, I agree 100%. And, every time I see good news from you, I rejoice. I'm really genuinely so happy.
Thank you so much.
And also with all of the support that you get, I think it's beautiful, and I feel like it's also so amazing to see you continue to want to build up the next generation, to give talks, to educate current students and things like that. So yeah, let's keep praying and working towards that vision, that dream.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you
for coming on the show.
Me. Thank
and
you.
we would like to end off with a last tune that you have also chosen, and this song is called Stay Amazed. And yeah, let's keep staying amazed at what God is doing in our lives. Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you.
You are enthroned above the heavens, the earth and all creation bow before you. You are crowned with strength and glory, the angels crying holy, all surround you. Forever you will stand. You are loving beyond measure. Your presence is the treasure I am seeking. You are an all-consuming fire, and I am your desire, and you are mine. Forever you will stand. Your kingdom has no end. Oh, holy God, I stay amazed. You are so much more than words could ever say. Oh, holy God, I pour out my praise on the one who never ceases to amaze. I'm pouring out my praise on you. I'm pouring out my love on you. I'm pouring out my praise on you. I'm pouring out my love. Oh, holy God, I stay amazed. You are so much more than words could ever say. Oh, holy God, pour out my praise on the one who never ceases to amaze. Oh, holy God, we stay amazed. You are so much more than we could ever praise. Oh, holy God, I pour out my praise on the one who never ceases to amaze. Oh, holy God.
Thank you so much. And with that, we want to say a goodbye and good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to tune in 2 weeks later for the next episode of Beacon Live. From all of us, God bless and goodbye.